One thing I want to say. One thing I want to say. They always gonna whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us.
Make America great again.
So y'all just saw and heard that little blast from a very short pass where Donald Trump had a rally out there in New York. I want to say it was Harlem. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Harlem where they had this rally at, which was very interesting considering the demographic. But there was this rapper there by the name of Sheff G. He was the one that spoke first, and another one that came behind him named Sleepy Hollow. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Never heard of them back then and completely forgot about them since I heard about them back then. But when I saw this story, I said, this is a Triple P definitely worth having. So a lot of people were speculating the reason why this Sheff G came out and did what he did, this little part right here. And mind you, this was probably the only thing that he did at this event, where he just shouted out Trump and the other guy came back out and behind him and said, "Make America Great Again." And I said, this just sounds so forced and so staged and so scripted. And then when we dug into his background a little bit, we was like, oh, we see what he's doing. This is his so-called favor. So in case something does happen with him, the favor will kick in. Well, fast forward to today, where this article from AP News came out. New York rapper who joined Trump at campaign rally sentenced to 5 years for attempted murder. I don't think Trump is worried about this. I think he's probably forgotten about, like most of us, Trump has most likely forgotten about him. But let's get into it. A New York City rapper who joined then former President Donald Trump during a campaign rally last year has been sentenced to 5 years behind bars after he admitted he used earnings from his music career to fuel gang violence in Brooklyn. I mean, how dumb can one be? Sheff G, whose legal name is Michael Williams, also must serve 5 years of supervised release once he's freed under the terms of the sentence imposed Wednesday. He had agreed to the prison term after reaching a plea deal with prosecutors earlier this year. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of attempted murder and a conspiracy charge. This defendant had talent and opportunity but chose to use them to fuel violence instead of building a better future, Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez said after the sentencing. The 27-year-old rapper, whose songs and videos have millions of YouTube views and Spotify streams, was among those arrested in connection with the long-term investigation into gang-related shootings in the New York City borough of Brooklyn. The allegations of violence against Sheff G had already been made public when he appeared with Trump on stage May 2024. And it's crazy because these are the same people that try to say that rap music and, black culture is this and rap music is that. Yet they had a whole rapper up there who not only had murder charges on him, but not murder, but attempted murder charges on him, but also was connected to fueling gang violence. The same thing that they try to tell us that we need to stop doing or stop putting ourselves into. Yet when you looked at that crowd, when he got up there and said what he said, they was up there cheering for him. That's why I tell you, I cannot take MAGA seriously whatsoever. Among those more than 30 purported members of the 8 Trade Crips and the Street Gangs affiliate, the 9 Ways Gang, have been indicted. 23 have pleaded guilty to various charges, while 7 cases are still pending. Among those charged was Tegan Chambers, a rapper known as Sleepy Hollow, which was the guy that came behind him and said, "Make America Great Again," who also appeared on stage with Trump and Sheff G during that rally in the Bronx. So it was the Bronx, not Harlem. Chambers was sentenced last week to a year in jail following his guilty plea to a conspiracy count. Now, here's the thing. All of this was going on when they was up on that stage. This was not something that happened after they was on that stage last May. This was going on while they were on that stage. They had all of that going on at that time. They were just still building up their investigation on them. And the thing is, they said many people already knew what they was a part of. That's why many people was kind of like, what in the world is Trump doing up there with them? How does Trump even know them? What made him pluck them out of everyone to put up on that stage? It was very odd. It was very weird. A spokesman for Trump's campaign was asked at the time about whether the campaign knew about the charges and whether it was the former president who sought the rapper's support or the other way around. As Sheff G said, they always whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Campaign spokesman Steve Chung responded, Steven, that's not what they were asking. They didn't ask you to quote what Sheff G said. They asked whether or not you knew about his involvement in his criminal activity prior to getting him up on that stage. The fact that you responded with a quote from Sheff G that doesn't correlate with the question being asked leads people to think or believe that y'all didn't know about this. But y'all put him up there anyway, and we know why you did, because you figure if we put this rapper up here who has all this stuff going on, we can get him to relate to the black community, because that's what they feed into. We know exactly what they were doing, and that's another reason why we went at that rally last year as hard as we did, because we saw right through the smoke and mirrors. Prosecutors have said Sheff G showered money and jewelry on gang members as they battled rivals in Brooklyn. They say the rapper acted as a getaway driver on at least one occasion, chauffeuring 3 co-defendants to and from a 2021 shooting that targeted a rival, but instead hit 2 bystanders. Sheff G even treated gang members to a lavish dinner at a Manhattan steakhouse to celebrate a 2020 shooting that killed a purported rival gang member and injured 5 others. Surveillance videos, social media posts, text messages, and more evidence document the criminal activities, and the 2 rappers also boasted about their misdeeds in their songs, Gonzalez's office said. Sheff G's lawyer Arthur Adala didn't immediately respond to an email seeking comment on Wednesday. He said previously that the plea deal was in the best interest of everyone involved. Sheff G and Sleepy Hollow were among the notable names Trump touted during his campaign stops as he worked to woo, here it is, black voters on his way to reclaiming the White House. Listen to that last part. Like I said, he did this as an attempt to get black people to vote for him. Like, you pulled these 2 people out that a lot of people didn't even know it existed, except for maybe people who live in New York, and that's about it. And even then, some people up there probably didn't know who they were. I had no clue who any of these fools were. The second thing is, listen to, y'all heard everything that I read dating back to 2020 of the stuff that he was involved in. The person, this Stephen Chung person, it was your job to do background checks on these 2 individuals before you just threw them up on the stage. Y'all just threw 2 random people up on that stage because you thought it would galvanize black people, and they got shootings, gang affiliations, attempted murder, all types of stuff going on in their background, and you blanket that and make it seem like that's all the black community is. Now you want to see another reason why I don't vibe with that side? Look at what they did just with this situation here. This might be one of my most serious triple Ps yet. Yes, the triple Ps are meant to be funny because they're wake-up calls, and he did get a wake-up call because he probably thought that, oh, by me getting up there and performing the way that I did, maybe Trump could help me out and get me out of this situation that I'm in, which, looking at it now, it didn't work. The plan failed. That's the funny part about it. But the seriousness is that they did a dog and pony show with these 2 individuals who had all of this going on in their background with an attempt to galvanize black people because they thought that's how black people were, or that's what we gravitate towards. That for me is an issue. And people want to know why I don't vibe with either side, but I'll just stick with this side right now. This is a perfect example as to why. What is one of my pet peeves? If y'all been following me, if y'all don't know, one of my biggest pet peeve, if not the biggest one, is insulting my intelligence. That stunt that they pulled with these 2 right here was exactly that. If y'all couldn't see the forest from the trees with this situation right here, then maybe you don't deserve the gift of vision. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.